All right, so I'm back, and today we're gonna do a repair bay where I'm gonna take the sword. I got this as a freebie from TF Source. It's die-cast, but I have no real need for it. So what I'm gonna do, and I got a piece of paper here just to kind of protect my background. We're gonna paint it. I'm gonna do rust, a rust color on here. So, first thing I like to start with is this Doom Bowl Brown. Alright, so you mix that up nice and neat, which I did prior to the video. Get your standard brush. Just get a good amount of paint on there. And we're just going to paint the entire thing. Now you can take this same method and just pick sections out and do it that way if you choose, but for me, I like, if I'm going rust, I'm going all rust. I'm not just doing a little bit of rust. I'm doing the whole thing. And this is one of those things that it really doesn't take that long to master at all. And you don't even really have to be a great painter to do this. So there's the whole sword, or one side of the sword painted. The rust color. Easy as that. Now we're going to do the same thing on this side. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I just haven't had the time. As much as I would love to spend more time. We had somebody at work walk out, and the curse of middle management is, or upper middle management, I guess, is that when you don't have the appropriate amount of staff, you have to just do it yourself. All right. All right, and there you go. We've got that painted. I'm gonna set that down for a minute. Hopefully that won't take too long to dry. Citadel paints they're water-based, so they're really nice because of that. One, you can easily come back to it later. Or your brush, you can take your brush, like even if you let it sit for too long, you toss it in some water and it'll be fine. And again, just using water to clean your brushes is nice. And yeah. No, that's not near dry. So we're just gonna, I don't know here. Guess we'll just let it dry. Really hate cutting videos. So, but yeah, I guess while we're waiting for it to dry, I'm just gonna kind of try and air it out. The next color we're gonna use is Vermin Brown. Yeah, these paints are actually they're not terrible when it comes to cost. They're I think they went up to $4 or $5 now. So that's not terrible for model paints. Now if you want some high-end paints like MP colors, you're probably gonna want to go get Testors, because those are going to be just a little bit more high-end than this. And they come with a little bit better metallic finishes. But if you're trying to do some detail, Citadel is a great way to go, because they've got so many different colors. I'm just kind of dabbing it with a cloth. You don't really want to do this with any other colors than rust, because rust won't make a difference. In the end. Alright, so that's fairly good enough. So yeah, you want to let this set. You don't want to do what I just did. I'm just trying to speed up the process. So we get some Vermin Brown here. Alright, and this is dry brushing. So you want to take your brush, get it in the paint like that, and then you want to take your cloth here and get it so it's almost gone, and then you just kind of just ever so lightly over. So see if I can do this for you so it actually shows. You can also add a little bit of orange. That'll help out a lot too, or that will make it pop a little bit more. But so you just we're just adding just a touch of color. Nothing drastic. I don't know how well that's coming off, but you can see it's just like right here. This is the dark brown. I haven't done anything at the bottom, but I have at the top. You can see how it just ever so lightly changes that color. There, you can see it on the tip a little bit better. And this one, because we're getting most of the moisture off of the brush, it'll dry real quick. Now, if you want to use orange, I don't have any orange, and I didn't want to go down and buy orange just for this, because not because of the cost, but mostly because of the drive time to my nearest Games Hobby Center is 45 minutes. So it's not, one color is not worth it to me, and I wasn't planning on being down there until next week. So we're just adding just that touch of color. Now, if you do use the orange, you want to be so picky on that color. You want to just barely dab that in. You might want to dry brush with a detail brush. That will make it a little bit easier to control. And maybe pick a test piece first before you actually do that. All right, so now, come on, focus. So now we've got, you got the darker color with the slight lighter brown over the top. Nothing drastic. All right, so now this looks like a lot of mining tools I find out when I'm hiking, because I live in Colorado and there's lots of old mining stuff. So let's add a little bit of silver so it doesn't look so bad, so overly rusty. So we want to mix this up. This is the way I always painted my orc weapons, was this method. And then you could just start on one end. Just kind of very lightly. And the silver goes a lot further than the brown, as you could see. And then, like, if there's a certain spot, like, I kind of wanted this piece right here to be a little bit less rusty, as opposed to the blade. Like, the further the blade goes, the rustier you'd get. So there you go. Nice rusty, but not, rusty, like more like a relic, as opposed to like this, which is more like oh, that's dead. I wouldn't want to try and use that, but this is more like, oh, that still might be useful kind of weapon. And once you get into the dry brushing, it really doesn't take long for it to dry, because again, you're taking a lot of moisture out of the paint when you dry it off. This paint's not sticking on the brush very well. There we go. There we go. And there you go. Easy as that. So now we got this nice rusty sword. You know, you can do the whole sword, you can do part of the sword. You know, you can do patches on a figure if you wanted to make it look rusty. I mean, your options are only limited by your imagination with Rust. You know, I mean, if you wanted your Optimus to look old and worn, you know, maybe just patches here and there of rust on him, something like that. I don't have any figures as of right now that I want rusty, so I just wanted to show this off here. And then this is Citadel Wash Badab Black, however you say that. Weird ass fucking names. And this, what this does is it's gonna fill in the gaps, or it's gonna darken the recesses. So you can just paint that on just slightly. And that will like make those letters stand out just a little bit more. You can see that. So it's nice and rusty with the letters popping out in black. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, I mean, I am a very good painter, I like to say, and I can pull all sorts of things. I actually won second place in my at my local Games Workshop store for the best painted regiment of what did I enter with it? I think it was. Oh, yeah. Everybody was you know, everybody had the option to do a regiment, and I decided to do an entire battalion of troops, and I did a whole set of Night Goblins and Spider Riders. If you guys are familiar with Games Workshop, you know what I'm talking about. If not, I don't bother trying to look it up because I think they've discontinued all those models. But anyway, I won second place. It was pretty cool. They gave me a free regiment of my choice. And then I also came in third place in the Games Workshop state contest for best converted model. I had a Orc versus Gore. I don't know if you guys know what that means, but but I had the Orc with the giant spear, so the spear was coming through the Gore, and the Gore was like, I had it posed so he was pulling the pole through his chest, trying to still get the Orc. But anyway, so anyway, I'm an extremely talented painter, I like to say, because I mean, this has been 14 minutes, and I did this in 14 minutes. I think that's a pretty good job. And at the same time, I still think, that's kind of half-assed. I could do a little bit better. But anyway, yeah, I like to think of myself as a good painter. I just have a hard time painting Transformers because of the fact that my techniques are more real world and Transformers are not real world. And just something about them just doesn't and the moving parts make it hard. So I'll do some more paint tips on sections of figures, but not the entire thing. I have a hard time doing the full figure and make it look good, or make it look good and last. That's my big problem. So anyway, there's how you paint rust. Again, just trying to, let me see here. That'll work, I think, so that it's not focusing on the background, but there you go. There's the finished result. What do you guys think? You like it? And they have a bunch of different washes too. They have like a green wash. You can put green wash on this, so those letters would be green instead of black. But yeah, there you go. What do you think? I think it wasn't a half bad effort. Especially since I haven't actually painted anything for months. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'm done.